morning. Well, this meeting today between the president and a group of Democratic governors is designed to try to quell some of their fears about continuing in the White House, much less defeating former President Trump at the ballot box come November. So we have a number of Democrats that are now kind of breaking that wall of support that we had seen for so long. Among them, Representative Lloyd Doggett saying that he wishes he had called on Biden sooner to drop out.
This needed to be a decision that was made much earlier in the process, but I remain hopeful that despite all the input from his own staff and perhaps from some family members, that he'll look at these numbers and realize that this is a hill just too high for him to climb and call on someone else.
Democratic Congressman Jared Golden of Maine wrote this in an op-ed. Biden's poor performance in the debate was not a surprise. While I don't plan to vote for him, Donald Trump is going to win, and I'm okay with that. There are winners and losers in every election, and there may be more to come, with Reuters reporting this. There are 25 Democratic members of the House of Representatives preparing to call for Biden to step aside if he seems shaky in coming days, according to one House Democratic aide. Now, there are reports of a big staff meeting at the White House today to help boost morale within the administration. And the White House just announced that the president will soon hold a rare news conference, as well as sit down for an even rarer one-on-one interview later this week with ABC News. Back to you guys.
Sure, something that the president holding news conferences is rare. Doug, thanks.
Yes.
Thanks.
All right. Even former President Obama is reportedly concerned that a debate might be too much for Biden to bounce back from. The Washington Post saying in part, quote, Obama has long harbored worries about his party defeating Donald Trump in November, repeatedly warning Biden in recent months about how challenging it will be to win re-election. It does go on to clarify that Obama is not calling on his former vice president to drop out of the race. And for that, the Biden campaign thanks him. Quote, President Biden is grateful for President Obama's unwavering support since the very start of the campaign as both a powerful messenger to voters and a trusted advisor directly to the president.
Oh man, it's like the secret sauce, the garnish on the side of the beautiful plate, the Benny Show logo on the boulder as it comes rolling down. And Democrats thought they actually pulled one over on us. It's incredible. There's been a vibe shift, ladies and gentlemen. Today, Wednesday, July 3rd, 2024. Maybe it is poetic, the fact that this is happening just hours before America's Independence Day. Will we see independence from Joe Biden's presidency this weekend? And is what awaits us as a country even worse? We'll look into all of it on today's show, and we have a very, very bold prediction. Along with Donald Trump's sentencing potentially being all of them, including the guilty verdict in New York, which was total BS, all of it thrown directly into the trash compactor, which is thrown directly into the dumpster fire, which is thrown directly into the tire fire, which is sunk to the bottom of the ocean. Will we see all of these cases evaporated and atomized? Well, we're already beginning with a judge saying, we'll sentence Donald Trump in September if that's even necessary. Oh, baby. Joining us today will be Mike Davis, of course, to talk about these incredible victories and what he's going to do as Donald Trump's viceroy at the Department of Justice. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. So I want to begin today. We've been giving a lot of thought, ladies and gentlemen, to the current news cycle. And we have an obligation to you. We have an obligation to this audience, ladies and gentlemen, to report to you what is actually happening in this country. We've been thinking about this for a while. We lived in Washington, D.C., and we've been getting nonstop calls from Washington, D.C. We've been getting calls from people who we've known for a very long time, from people who cover the campaigns, from people who work on presidential campaigns, people on all sides of the aisle. And it is actually our obligation to you as an audience to put the pieces together. That's a one superpower that we have on here. As I say proudly, I went to community college. All right, I think I'm generally just your typical simple American who observes these things. But if we have a superpower, it's this: pattern recognition, signal boosting, the understanding that these things don't happen by accident, that in fact there are regularly coordinated efforts across the political and cultural landscapes that unite to form something that is going to happen and that will happen. And we have a bold prediction on this show, ladies and gentlemen. Now, our bold prediction is based on the pattern recognition and signals that we have been picking up throughout the political landscape that this man will not be president, maybe as soon as this weekend. Now, this isn't something that we want to report to you, maybe for the first time ever. We've talked about Joe Biden's impeachment and Joe Biden being removed from office, but actually, right now, I would much prefer that Joe Biden stay in office. I would much prefer that Joe Biden get his ass dragged, plus the colostomy bag, plus the pocket catheter, plus all the pills, plus all of his body doubles, dragged all the way through November, with Nurse Ratched, his wife, wheeling the wheelchair, right, directly into the old people's home. I would prefer that. I think that Joe Biden might lose 40 states. I think that Joe Biden, we could see like a Nixon or Reagan level landslide. And that is what all of the prediction markets are showing right now. But unfortunately, there are powers that also understand these things. And those powers are moving at a frantic rate to undo Joe Biden's presidency and to force this old man who is suffering from Parkinson's, dementia, Alzheimer's, and probably a mix of all three of them into some brand new thing. Joe Biden is handicapped, and they're going to push this handicapped man over a cliff. We are saying this, again, not because we want to say it, not because we believe that's the best, the best outcome for our boy and for us on the political playing field. We don't. We'd like for Joe Biden to stay in office. We're saying that because we have an obligation to you to obviously inform you of what's going on now, and then to, as accurately as we can, predict what's about to happen in the future. And we believe that as early as this weekend, Joe Biden may well be replaced. Now, I want to start a few years ago. With this clip from the debates. Now, this is, of course, when Joe Biden was polling like 4th or 5th. Just a reminder that Joe Biden didn't perform in Iowa, performed even worse in New Hampshire. There's no reason that Joe Biden should be president. There's no reason at all. Joe Biden, during the debates, got mogged, actually, by somebody who's currently calling for him to resign, a man named Joaquin Castro, who asked, "Did you just forget what you told me 2 minutes ago?" Listen to this.
They do not have to buy in.
You just said that. You just said that 2 minutes ago. You just said 2 minutes ago that they would have to buy in. You said they would have to buy in.
Have to buy in. If she qualifies for Medicaid,
are you forgetting what you said 2 minutes ago?
Are you
forgetting already what you said just 2 minutes ago? I mean, I can't believe that you said 2 minutes ago that they had to buy in, and now you're saying they don't have to buy. You're forgetting that.
I said anyone.
This was happening on the Democratic debate stage. Everybody saw it. This is no shock what happened on the debate stage a few nights ago. This is no shock to anybody. This is insanity. They're gaslighting you. They've known about this for years. Hunter Biden wrote in 2019 about Joe Biden having dementia. These are in his private messages to a family physician and medical expert. They've known about this for ages. Yet they continued to push this handicapped man into this position, and it was clear well before the 2020 election. You have debate clips like that, where Joaquin Castro is like, you just forgot? You just forgot what you told me a second ago? What's wrong with you, pal? And then Joe Biden becomes the nominee, magically, of course, after losing the first primary states. And then what happens? Joe Biden continues to read off prompters even while doing friendly campaign events from his basement. Here's a really short mashup of Joe Biden needing a teleprompter to do like town halls while he's running from his basement for president.
Look, one of the things that that I think is really important is that we somehow put that back on. There's somehow that we're in a situation where, and in addition to that, we have to make sure that we are in a position that we are. Well, let me go to the second thing. I've spoken enough of that. Well, I will make an education that, in fact, thank you all for taking your part, fulfilling a part, being part of. It honors your heroism now, not yesterday. We needed yesterday. I unveiled a plan, social distancing and wearing masks, which I never do when I walk outside of this house. I never fail to do. Now, one day, on day one, I'm going to send the legislature. Lonnie knows I believe this every fiber of my being. We're posed. What I proposed is it can be done. COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives. When you think about it.
That was 5 years ago. Don't let them gaslight you into, oh, wow, what a there's a headline out today from an outlet called Semaphore that says, oh, it's the cover-up of the ages that the White House was able to hide Joe Biden's condition from all of us. Total and complete bullshit. They are lying to you. There has been no cover-up. The only people that believe that Joe Biden was of sound mind up until Thursday were the same people who believed in Russiagate. They're people who either are wantonly low IQ and smooth-brained and probably deserve to wear a helmet when leaving their home, or they're people who simply are complicit in not believing their eyes and ears. They just believe what the party tells them. Either way, they're too dumb to function. Nobody believed that Joe Biden was of sound mind all the way through Thursday because of clips like this that we've just shown from 5 years ago. Fellow Democrats on a crowded debate stage saying, Joe, you just forgot something you told me 2 minutes ago. You're contradicting yourself. And then, of course, that montage and on and on and on. Then, of course, in the White House, there are photos like this that were made readily available to the public of Joe Biden getting, look at this. Look at this. You ever seen a photo of a president like this? Joe Biden getting completely and totally pistol whipped by the Nurse Ratched wife of his, who's the only reason that Joe Biden is actually in the White House, because Joe Biden ravenously and deeply evil, possibly one of the more evil people in all of American history. Joe Biden wanted to go to state dinners. Joe Biden wanted to be Michelle Obama. Joe Biden wanted to be famous and powerful. And so she forced her handicapped husband into all of this. The photo speaks for itself. What else speaks for itself? Let's check in this morning. Why can we say with such a surety that Joe Biden is bound to resign and resign soon? Well, something remarkable happened this morning, something that we haven't seen in ages. This is this morning's presidential schedule. You'll see, of course, Joe Biden starting his workday at 11:30, as has been reported, along with ripping the CPAP machine off his face, wobbling into his meeting. Joe Biden apparently takes lots of naps. The White House is leakier than the Iraqi Navy right now in bad stories about Joe Biden. The president received his president daily brief. This is, of course, a classified briefing just for the president. The vice president attends. Oh, that's strange. Haven't seen that in an age. Why would Kamala Harris and Joe Biden hate each other? Why would Kamala Harris be attending the classified president's daily briefing? Wait a second. So Kamala Harris is attending the president's daily briefing? Then they're having lunch together. Then later, Joe Biden is having a secret meeting with Democrats, Democrat governors, of which Gavin Newsom just flew to Washington, D.C. to attend. Gavin Newsom's in D.C. right now. Gavin Newsom's going to physically be at the White House to muppet Joe Biden during this meeting. What's about to go on? What's cooking here? Last week, we brought on the author of this piece. Now, this piece was written at the beginning of this month before the debates. And this piece said that Pelosi and Obama are sort of the two iron pillars that hold up support for Joe Biden. Obama's appeared with Joe Biden at a bunch of fundraisers. Nancy Pelosi has been a stalwart supporter of Joe Biden and his presidency. She's sucked in her dentures. She's done her best Michael Jackson impression, transitioning Michael Jackson impression, and gone on TV to say that Joe Biden is so smart and so quick-witted and so young. And that was a new one from this weekend. Joe Biden's young, because he's younger than Pelosi. And that all changed. We were told by the author of this piece, his name's Charlie Spearing, live on this show, to watch Pelosi and watch Obama and how they begin to act after the debate. And lo and behold, yesterday, like a blaring red flashing signal through the fog, Nancy Pelosi began to turn. Live on TV, Nancy Pelosi sitting here again, doing her best Michael Jackson impression, sucked in her dentures, and was able to spit out of her mouth, not the 3 olives from her martini that she just guzzled down, but in fact, a statement saying that Joe Biden has either episodes or a condition. Not something you'd normally say about something about the commander-in-chief and the most man you want for the most powerful job in the world. Here's Nancy Pelosi turning, ladies and gentlemen, live on TV.
So we have all these things that he was masterful in helping to orchestrate, to write, and to pass. So he has a vision, he has knowledge, he has judgment, he has a strategic thinking, and the rest. He has a bad night. Now, again, I think it's a legitimate question to say, is this an episode or is this a condition?
Do you say that kind of stuff about somebody you want to be president? He has a condition? Really? Really? Also, she reads, if you play the full clip, she reads an entire Joe Biden obituary beforehand. Oh, we've accomplished this and this and this and this. Oh, it was so great while it lasted. Read the signals. It's our job to do that on this program. And so here we are. How about signals from really smart people that we really trust? Tucker Carlson saying that Barack Obama is getting ready to backstab Joe Biden behind the scenes. And then lo and behold, what happens yesterday? Obama voices concerns over a shaky debate, offers Biden advice. Why would we know about this unless Barack Obama, who runs a very tight ship, leaked it himself? Obama shares concerns over shaky debate. President Barack Obama has privately told allies who have reached out to him that President Biden's already tough path to re-election grew more challenging after his shaky debate performance, a harsher assessment of the presidential race, and his public comments, according to several people familiar with the remarks. Oh, really? Do you think those people got to speak without Barack Obama personally allowing them to speak to the Washington Post? No. So this is Barack Obama beginning to lay the groundwork for the, sorry, Joe, we're done here. Obama separately spoke directly with Biden by phone after last Thursday's debate to offer a sounding board and a private counselor to the embattled former president. Uh-oh. Oh, no. What would that be? A counselor? Like the kind of counselor who wanders in to the nursing home room with a pillow in the middle of the night, very quietly, to go ahead and give the sweet, sweet release, ladies and gentlemen. It's kind of like that. Speaking of people who are very close to Joe Biden, who are responsible, actually, for Joe Biden's career right now, none more than James Clyburn, the man with the iron grip on the Congressional Black Caucus and on the state of South Carolina, who single-handedly flipped that state for Joe Biden and gave that state to Joe Biden when Joe Biden's entire presidential campaign was in flames. The wheels had already come off. James Clyburn now openly talking about on MSNBC who's going to replace Joe Biden when he drops out. Oh, interesting.
Congressman, how would you feel if there is a decision for him to step down, if he decides that, and he has to decide that, or if the party pressures him to do that? How would you feel if they worked around and tried to go around Kamala Harris because of her lack of high poll numbers and popularity and broadly based? Do you think it's hers to have if it is not his?
I will support her if he were to step aside. But I want to support.
Oh, I'll support Kamala Harris if Joe Biden were to step aside. You never heard Democrats ever talking like this until now. Jamie Ratskin, as we lovingly call him, on the Democrat ticket. I know this is a moving target and things are going to happen quickly. I can guarantee you there will be massive unity and focus on the tasks that we have to end the process. You never heard this guy's like in leadership for Democrats. You never heard them talking like this beforehand. Now listen.
Do you agree with Congressman Doggett?
Well, look, we are the party of democracy and freedom right now, and everybody is asking one question within the Democratic Party. And I know that's true of President Biden and Vice President Harris and my friend Lloyd Doggett and everybody in the House and the Senate and all of the members of the Democratic Party, the tens of millions of people across the country, which is how do we defeat Donald Trump, and how are we going to defeat the threat of authoritarianism and keep the progress of democracy and freedom moving forward in the country? And we are not operating like an authoritarian religious cult the way that the Republican Party operates now. There will be lots of discussion and lots of people weighing in. And I know this is a moving target. It's got to happen quickly. But I can guarantee you, Chris Hayes, there will be massive unity and focus on that task when we get to the end of this process. And it's happening very quickly.
Oh, wow. Do you believe that Joe Biden should resign was the question. And the answer from like the guy who's third in line for the Speaker of the House, like the guy who runs every single January 6th committee, the guy who runs every single sham investigation of Donald Trump, very powerful man, Jamie Ratskin. He says, yeah, we'll see what happens. We're very focused. We're very focused on like when we pick someone, what's going to happen next. This is not the way that you talk. Read the signals. Like, be awake with us. Look at this. The first elected Democrat saying Joe Biden has to resign. This guy's name is Representative Doggett. He's from Texas. And he says right here in his statement, Biden's commitment to the country is to the country, not himself. So I'm hopeful that he will make the painful but difficult decision to withdraw. I call on him to do so. All right, it's just one member. Aren't there like 400,000 members of Congress? It's just one dude, right? Just one dude, right? Okay. No, 25 actual members of Congress are now planning on calling for Joe Biden to resign. Let me tell you how it works in Democrat politics. These guys don't get to do this. This party doesn't believe in free speech or autonomy of thought. These guys don't get to do this. This is Lloyd Doggett. Okay, look at this guy. Look at this guy. This guy's pure soy. You can smell it on him. This man doesn't get to go pee-pee in the little boys' room without a hall pass from Nancy Pelosi. This man got approval from Democrat leadership to call on Joe Biden to resign. And so did all these members. And the reason why the dam has broken is because Democrat leaders want the dam to break. None of this is by accident. So be smart. Like, read what's going on. The Democrat Party, of course, isn't actually a real party. It is more like a reanimated corpse that whose only power is dark money billionaires who hate America and want to destroy this nation and are using the Democrat Party as effectively a weapon or a tool, a battering ram, so to speak, into America in order to destroy our nation through open borders, through suicidal military and monetary policy, and through defunding the police, through allowing mobs to burn down our cities, Antifa, BLM, and all the like. They want the destruction of America. And the Democrat Party is the vessel that these donors donate to in order to destroy the country. This is what the Democrat Party is. So when the donors speak, it's actually more powerful than maybe any individual Democrat themselves, even Obama. Listen to the quotes from these donors. Major Democrat mega donor says that the Biden team lied to us systematically over the years. Given the stake, it's unforgivable. It's unconscionable. Biden's darkest hour. Now the Democrats are saying, the Democrat donors are saying they've lost faith, to put it mildly. Oh my. Key Democrat donors threaten to pull plug on Biden if he doesn't resign. Furious party insiders reveal worst fears about ailing president have now been confirmed. How stupid do they think we are? Says the headlines. Oh man. Democrat donors. Kamala Harris, by the way, is more threatening to those swing voters than a dead Joe Biden or a comatose Joe Biden. Saying that Kamala Harris is going to lose even harder than Joe Biden would. They're in a bad position. We've all enabled the situation, say Democrats, and then Biden's inner sanctum is the problem. Yeah. His nurse ratchet wife, his dumbass kid, cokehead kid, nurse ratchet wife are literally running the country. You're looking at the two people legitimately running the country right now. But one of them is a felon. One of them should be a felon for elder abuse. Jill Biden getting it pretty hard, actually. Jill Biden doesn't give a damn about America or her husband. She'll humiliate him until he can take no more because she knows what'll come next. Yeah. The country is being completely managed by a clearly mentally unstable, psychotic, angry suburban stepmom, part-time stepmom, full-time Chardonnay mom, who can't get enough of the bath curtains at Bed Bath & Beyond to turn into dresses to wear as First Lady. Listen to the way that she runs the White House with Joe Biden. This I found so fascinating. And I know this is a lot of information, but we have been nonstop studying this. To the point that they've all known about this for a long time. Do you know that Jill Biden keeps the White House residency staff, like the butlers, away from Joe Biden? That they're not allowed to be in the same room as Joe Biden? Did you know this? Something that was completely skipped over the last news cycle, but really, really important. The White House resident staff, who serves the first family in the mansion living quarters, have been kept away from Joe Biden. They won't let us do anything for them. The separation between the family and the resident staff is so big, so divided. It's not supposed to be that way, and usually isn't, even in the Trump White House. Jill Biden doesn't want the residence staff to see what actually Joe is, which is a walking corpse, which is a meat puppet. Because they may leak, they may talk to the press. They're not allowed to be in the same room as Joe. What a massive, massive admission of where Joe truly is. And where is Joe truly? This is a CNN poll from yesterday. Donald Trump up 6. Donald Trump up 4 in all swing states. No Democrat poll beats Donald Trump. None of them. And now Democrats are leaking on Joe Biden. Those are external polls that I just showed you, CNN doing the external poll. Media companies do external polls. Internal polls tend to be more accurate from the campaigns because the campaign seems, always, of course, has their hooks into the voters in a more accurate fashion than media companies. Now, the Democrats are leaking their internal polls on Joe Biden. And what do they look like? This. Here's the margin drop after the debate for Joe Biden in every conceivable swing state. Look at these margins. By the way, these are Democrats leaking this to hurt Joe. These people are hired by the Joe Biden campaign to run this campaign. And this is what they are leaking. Goodness gracious. Sirens blare for Biden campaign as Trump inches ahead in state the GOP hasn't won in 24 years. This is about New Hampshire. This polling right here, ladies and gentlemen, show that Joe Biden is effectively down. All right, effectively within the margin of error in these polls. In Colorado, Minnesota, New Mexico, Virginia, New Hampshire, Wisconsin, Nebraska, which is the Nebraska 2nd District, which Nebraska splits up their electoral vote, so that's why that's like that. Michigan, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina. This would effectively be the largest rout in modern presidential history. Not since the 70s have we seen a rout like this. It is remarkable. It is astonishing. And the people on the inside are now saying it's over for Joe. We don't want that result. We're just connecting the pieces for you, showing you where to look. Cenk Uygur, who is the biggest progressive really on YouTube, saying, I'm calling it, Biden's going to drop out, is cascading out of control. They can't contain it. It's consuming the whole campaign. Biden is not going to magically be some dynamic figure and mount a dramatic comeback. There's no chance. We're going to have a new candidate. And the smart money says you'll have it this weekend. Joe Biden has a entire little slate of interviews planned. One is with George Stephanopoulos this weekend. Could it be that Joe Biden uses that opportunity to resign? We don't know. But I got to tell you, the smart money is looking that way. I'll show you one other thing here from this morning. One final thing. We finally beat Medicare. All right, there's us live. Look at that. Okay, here we go. U.S. presidential markets. Just one final thing. Look at this. Look at this. These are the betting markets. This is the smart money. Look at this. This is from Real Clear Politics. Okay? This is from these people are sound as a pound, straight as an arrow. All they do, all these people are the data people. This is what the markets say are about to happen. Like the money in the markets say is about to happen. Look at that. Of course, blue is Biden, red is Trump. How you gonna fix that? This is unfixable, ladies and gentlemen. And so there we are. Okay, there we are. That's our summary, and thank you for obviously sticking with us. But that's our summary of what we believe is going to happen. Again, I want them to keep Joe Biden. I will do anything on this program to try and signal that they should keep Joe Biden. Please, keep Joe Biden. We're so scared of him. Please, keep running. But it's also important it's our obligation to you and our responsibility to ensure that you are knowledgeable and that you can put these pieces together the same way that we are doing, right? And so, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. Now, what happens next? Not exactly sure, but we do know that the campaign is in total and complete chaos. As reported recently here, based on the internal pollings, this is what terrifies them the very most. Let's go.
News alert: more than 24 House Democrats reportedly prepping to officially call on President Biden to end his campaign as more of his own party members cast doubt on his ability to serve another term. Special report anchor Brett Baer is here to react. So, Brett, you've been doing this for a long time. What I know about Democrats, especially in the House, they do not move without the leadership. They may chirp on the sidelines, but when it's time to vote, they are in lockstep. So the question is this actually happening, or are these members just trying to protect themselves once and for all and bucking the leadership?
Yeah, Lawrence, good morning. I think it's a combination of that. I do think that Democrats and Republicans, lawmakers, are all about protecting their own hide when it comes to re-election. And what has changed in the past 24 hours is we are starting to get more and more internal polls and more external polls, public polls about the ramifications of Thursday's debate. And there are internal polls, we are told, by Democratic lawmakers that show Joe Biden now losing Virginia, New Hampshire, and New Mexico to Donald Trump. That is a massive shift, and that would be a game changer in the Electoral College that was already close. It would mean that Donald Trump, if that held, would win going away. Those kind of numbers scare the crap out of everybody on down the ticket because they realize that the top of the ticket could hurt their chances to hold on to the House, to take over the House and to hold on to the Senate. And I think that's what the seismic shift that you're seeing in the last 24 hours is all about.
So we've run through, like a fire hose, we've run through all of the numbers. Never heard Brett Baer say crap on TV before. There's a first for everything. Do our best to not curse on this show. We try not to have potty mouths on this show. Sometimes we can't help ourselves, but here we are. What has been the response from the White House? This is what has been so mind-boggling, is that normally when there's a crisis, you put the president out there in the media. The press conference, right, would be something that you'd naturally want to have. You put Joe Biden out in front of the people to make sure that he's, like, hey, he's still alive, his brain's functioning. But the last couple of days, they've only done like really short, like 2-minute teleprompter remarks with Joe Biden. Joe Biden's behaved like a complete creep. Started rubbing people's arms yesterday. Can we get that? Can we grab that clip? That like super creepy Joe Biden, like massaging, stroking some guy's arm. Yeah, super. Like Joe Biden's like not helped himself out. He's had multiple teleprompter flubs, and it's been days. Okay, so now it's been a week, effectively, since the debate. And where's been Joe Biden? Where's the interview? Where's the press conference? Where's anything to like quell these fears? It's caused complete panic. We've done our best to try and piece together the Biden campaign's response here. All right, so here we go. Here's in writing the Biden response to Democrats turning on him.
Now elected Democrats saying out loud that it's time for Biden to step aside. Do you get any sense that that message has cracked through, has broken through that inner circle?
I don't know what the metric would be to say that it's broken through, but they're definitely hearing it. They're aware of it. The interview with George Stephanopoulos, that is obviously a sign that they have heard some of these calls from lawmakers and that they know they have to fix this. They're trying to fix it. They're trying to reassure people. The outreach has been slow. There were a lot of days that went by before the president started really getting on the phone and talking to the people who are important here. He'll obviously, as you said, meet with the governors today. He has started picking up the phone and talking to members of Congress, as far as I understand. What those conversations are like, hard to say. But, I think that, the campaign has pointed at this point to polling, and that they've said, well, the debate has not really changed the race. We're only starting to get a sense of the public's reaction to what happened on Thursday night, what they saw from the president. I think Simone is right. The voters are going to have a lot to do with this, public perceptions, public support. If the president's support craters, if we're looking at a place where states like New Hampshire and Minnesota are suddenly now in play for Donald Trump, that's not a race that the president can win. And so I think that his inner circle, as cloistered as they have been, as much as they have tried to kind of, circle the wagons around the president here in the last week or so, they are realists. They are seeing all these polls. The president is seeing all these polls. And I'm sure that if they continue to mount, if we hear more calls from more senior members of Congress for him to consider stepping aside, I think that will weigh heavily on this president, certainly on the senior staff as well.
Jim Vandehei.
So it's a little crazy what they're doing right now. Legally, none of the money can go to anybody else. There's all these people who are spouting off that, like, Joe Biden could just transfer his money. That's not how it works. These people donated to Biden Harris 2024. You don't get to just liquid. That money isn't fungible. You don't get to just take it and then inject it in wherever you want. That's not how it works. These people donated to a specific campaign. You don't just get to, like, take the keys like used car and like drive it around. There's massive federal infrastructure for these things. To switch the candidate now is going to be chaos. Pure and total chaos. Although it'll be nothing as messy as we saw yesterday, where cringe, we were waiting for this one, cringe Jean-Pierre was able to take the press dais yesterday for the first time since the debate. And, oh man, this is delicious, actually, the way that she defended Joe Biden. She was asked time and time again about dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, asked about the president's doctor. It was not pretty. Here we go.
The president may not like to hear it if he's watching, but I think the American people need to get a yes or no answer on this. Does President Biden, at 81 years old, have Alzheimer's, any form of dementia, or degenerative illness that would cause these sorts of lapses? And it's a yes or no question. And if you don't know, why don't you, as one of his senior staff members, know the
I
yes
have
or
an
no
answer for you. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
It's a no. And I hope you're asking the other guy the same exact question. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Democrats are such herd animals. They're such herd animals. They all spook at the same time and run the same direction. None of them really thinking about where they're going. They just kind of following. The reason I say that is because that was something that was trotted out this weekend. You remember Nancy Pelosi? Oh, it's many doctors think that it's Donald Trump who has dementia. Gotcha. Yeah. Ooh, man, the panic is for real. When was the last time you heard CNN attacking cringe Jean-Pierre? By the way, why is cringe out there? Why isn't Joe Biden doing a 2-hour press conference? If Joe Biden's so smart and if Joe Biden's so stable, then one, why is his son, his convicted felon, crackhead, degenerate kid, holding his hand through White House meetings? We'll get to that in just a second. And then why isn't Joe Biden out there in front of the press dais? Hold on a second. So there was a big press conference yesterday. Why didn't Joe Biden do it? Donald Trump would stand up. You remember the COVID briefings? I don't think it was Trump's best look, but like Donald Trump did those briefings every single day for like hours. Why not bring in Joe? You get an opportunity for everybody to ask him a question. Joe Biden gets to like answer. Bingo, bango, bongo. You know, the headlines begin to die down. Nope. It's cringe. And even CNN wasn't buying it. Watch.
Well, the motivation behind that press conference was clear because Karine Jean-Pierre said it plainly. We want to turn the page. We want America to turn the page. We are hoping to turn the page. I mean, she said it 3 times. That was quite clear. The page is not turning because there was a lack of answers to the critical fundamental question that was being asked, which is, what happened? What happened that all of America saw? So Karine Jean-Pierre kept saying, we're not trying to ignore reality. We understand and acknowledge what America saw and witnessed, and that was a really bad night, and that was a bad debate. And we acknowledge that. But she does not offer one bit of evidence or reasoning or rationale for why. Why did America see what they saw that night? And there were a lot of questions asked by the White House press corps. You know, can we get more medical records? Can you bring the doctor in here and make them available? Is it time to do a cognitive test? You didn't do one in the last. And there was just none acceptance of that kind of a premise. It was just one bad night. We acknowledge that. But she's missing explaining to the country fundamentally why.
Why? When was the last time you heard CNN be critical of anything that cringe says? You never heard anything like that. Again, we're sitting back here, and it's our job to catalog these things and to pay attention and to notice these major vibe shifts that are happening. Suddenly, Pelosi, Obama, Ratskin, and Clyburn, plus 25 other Democrats are all like, we'll see what happens. Whoa. Wait a second. Whoa, hold on. Wait a second. Democrat donors are saying they're no longer going to donate to Joe Biden? None of the dark money groups? None of these guys, like, they're all saying, pull back. They lied. They lied to us. People are attacking Jill. Now the press are openly attacking Jill and cringe. You're not allowed to attack cringe. She's a diversity hire. Cringe Jean-Pierre is protected. She's a protected class, intersectional. Okay. She's, you're not allowed. You can't attack cringe. She's ticked all the boxes. And here they are, letting loose, saying she's like lying to us. She's not giving any explanation. I mean, listen, the wheels have come off. If you pay attention to these things, you'll see like that this is a screaming, flaming train on panic going over the cliff right now. And something also remarkable happened. For years, they attacked shows like ours for going after Hunter Biden. What they said was that Hunter Biden is just the degenerate, sad, junkie kid of the president. You're being mean to him. Okay? He's just some lunatic who paints garbage art, right, in the hills of Los Angeles. Stop being mean to him. He's a recovering addict. Who the hell cares? He's a private citizen, all right? And so don't leave Hunter alone. That's what we were told. The media attacked us for it. The media still attacks us for it. Okay? Because we actually reported on Hunter Biden. That's what they told us. And now, just like that, suddenly Hunter Biden, the worthless, recovering addict, degenerate, don't be mean to him. Suddenly he's the most powerful advisor in the White House. Well, you can't have it both ways. Hunter Biden, to the shock of everybody in the White House, is now following his dad around, Pop, as he calls him, like holding him by the hand, like leading him in his undergarments, right, in his bathrobe, shuffling in his slippers, shuffling him down the hallways of the White House. And Hunter Biden, who there's no way he can have a security clearance, can he? Is sitting in on White House meetings. Listen to this.
New tonight, NBC News reports that first son Hunter Biden joined meetings with the president and senior staff this week in the West Wing. Reaction from senior staff described as, what the hell is happening? The White House had this explanation.
He came back with his dad from Camp David. He walked him into the speech prep and he was in the room.
So great to be right. You know, it's so great to be right. I'm going to play you a clip right now of our show predicting what's about to happen. We are not particularly smart. We are well sourced on this program, but again, pattern recognition. We're alive and we pay attention. That's it. That's it. That's all we do. And then we explain these things in simple terms, and we do not lie to you. That's it. That's all we do on this program. And you're welcome. We put up all the information. We put up all the evidence. We don't hide anything from you, and you're welcome to go see it for yourself. Okay? On our social media or somebody else's. We'll always show you instead of telling you, and we stand by our reporting on this program. Now, we said a few weeks ago that it was going to be Kamala and that they can't help themselves. They're going to swap. This was before the debate, weeks before the debate, that they're going to do a hot swap. And Joe Biden's doing so poorly against Donald Trump. This was actually when Joe Biden was beating Trump in multiple polls. But we said a collapse is near. And Kamala Harris is going to be swapped out because they can't help themselves. They'll choose to have their intersectional, DEI moment and put the first black woman into the White House, right? That nobody voted for, that nobody elected, that didn't win a single delegate at the DNC convention. And they're going to take that moment, and their last best hope is to transfer the cash to Kamala Harris and to hope that Kamala Harris can do some executive order, right? Because she won't be able to get anything done legislatively. But Kamala Harris does some executive order and has some win that she can claim, and that there's some honeymoon period, and then hope that Donald Trump says something about Kamala Harris, so they can whip everyone up into a frenzy. That's their only hope. We said it. Here's the proof. They'll take Joe Biden out as president. They'll allow Kamala Harris to ascend to the presidency for the last couple months. And while you laugh at that, consider the optics. You have Kamala Harris, you could have Kamala Harris effectively, then you could claim, first black woman. Look what we've done. First black woman president. You could claim your historic moment there, right? Try to get Kamala Harris some type of legislative victory. Try to rush through or jam through some type of accomplishment. Hope that there's some honeymoon period maybe. Kamala Harris then runs as president for the last couple months. And that's their card to play against Trump. Right? That then Trump's running against a strong black woman. And somebody who's... We said this 3 weeks ago. We said this 3 weeks ago. And now this is what the betting markets look like for Kamala. This morning, Kamala Harris is now leading Joe Biden for who will become the next president of the United States. Who will be the Democrat presidential nominee is actually the market that is being bet on here. Kamala Harris. Multiple donors are saying now inside the Democrat Party, let's just try Kamala. Sizzle, baby. Sizzling. like fajitas at Chili's. Ooh, we love being right. And all we do is just follow pattern recognition, baby. That's it. Now look at Kamala. It's Kamala's moment, okay? Kamala Harris asked to her face, is Joe Biden going to resign? This happened yesterday. CBS News got a hold of Kamala on the streets and said, is Joe going to resign? Here we go.
And speaking about stakes, you just came out of a fundraiser. We know that many in your party have expressed concerns about President Biden's health. Just this morning, Congressman Doggett said that he's calling on President Biden to withdraw from the race, given that there's too much at stake to risk a Trump victory. What's your response to this?
Look, Joe Biden is our nominee. We beat Trump once, and we're going to beat him again, period.
Are you ready to lead the country if necessary?
I am proud to be Joe Biden's running mate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, man. I hope Kamala Harris doesn't get the nomination. She might blow it. Are you prepared for this, ladies and gentlemen? We have something to show you that's been going viral all across social media, which is a miniature supercut of what may happen. This may be an address from the Oval Office, and they may be able to force this. And let me tell you exactly why they would do this. Because campaign finance law says that Kamala Harris's name is on the ticket. People that donate to Biden-Harris. And so if Joe Biden goes the way of old Yeller, you still have Harris and you still have Kamala's name. That money is fungible then. Then that money can transfer to Kamala. She's named on the ticket. You don't have to rebuild the entire Death Star, the entire apparatus. You have to understand campaign finance law here, but like, there's a reason why the number one line item in any campaign isn't TV ads, it isn't donors, it isn't, campaign workers. It's lawyers. Because, guys, to navigate the labyrinth of federal regulations and state regulations, you need an army of attorneys. I mean, you need hundreds of attorneys to get all this done. Do you realize how impossible it would be for somebody to, like, kickstart a campaign right now? And again, this fantasy that this pot of money that Joe Biden's sitting on is hundreds of millions of dollars. Trump's got more cash on hand actually right now, but it's hundreds of millions of dollars, it's a big old pot of money, that's somehow going to just like pour directly into Gavin Newsom. That's not how it works. But it could work for Kamala because her name is on the filings with the government. That's what makes this their only option. So are you prepared? Because they may force that. If Biden resigns, they can get President Kamala Harris. They can do it. They don't need a single vote. Nobody voted for her. They don't need a single delegate. No delegates for Kamala. And then this is what your Oval Office address will sound like. Kamala Harris, take it away.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know? What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What we can see, what we believe can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
Who we can be, unburdened by who we have been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
Where we can be, unburdened by where we have been, and unburdened by where we are right now.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
Well, where have you been, Kamala? Like, in your career? Like, what exactly have you done in order to get to your high and lofty position, just a breath away, or a single decision away, nearing ever closer to becoming the most powerful person in the world? Of course, we have photos of her being Montel Williams' side piece. This was, we have these photos of her and Montel Williams from the early 2000s. what exactly have you done, Kamala? Don't read too much into it. Don't read too much about Kamala Harris's early political life, or what the mayor of San Francisco, Willie Brown, has to say about Kamala Harris. And if you do, then, well, make sure there are no kids around. And let's just say that Kamala Harris is particularly talented at gobbling power. So, ladies and gentlemen, we seek to find clear and ringing like a bell voices who have been predicting this for a while. And as we like to pat ourselves on the back because we do our homework on this program, but there have been people from very, very loud and very, very large stages saying that this is going to happen for a long time. Saying that Joe Biden will not be the nominee. There's one person who's been bold enough to say it from really the biggest platforms you can find in all of politics, national debates, national TV hits, the campaign trail, and that person is Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek's a friend of the show, can't join today, and we look forward to talking with him about this because, man, if there's one person vindicated in the entire political landscape, it's him. Have a listen.
Look, I think that the reality is the managerial class around Biden has lost their use for him. This has been obvious to me since last year. Play out the incentives. He is not the strongest candidate they can put up. And these people, they have stopped at nothing to keep Donald J. Trump out of office. You think they're going to stop at this step? I think it's actually one different game they're playing, Kaylee, is they want this to happen as late as possible into the cycle. They want it to be in the honeymoon phase of a new candidate. Initially, you get that honeymoon phase before the scrutiny comes. If that swap out comes in August or even after August, they get to put up a candidate who will not yet have had the scrutiny, keep Republicans guessing. And that's, I think, the game that's actually going on here. And the reality is, I think there's only two viable choices, really, if you think about it. The Democratic Party is wedded to identity politics. The only reason Kamala Harris got that job, frankly, is because she was a black woman. Don't take my words. Take it from the words of the Democratic Party itself, which leaves Kamala Harris or Michelle Obama. That's where I predict this plot ends, and I don't think it's going to happen particularly soon. I think it's in their incentive to wait as long as possible, and that's exactly where I think the game goes from here.
Vivek Ramaswamy on this program, on the national debate stage, during live events with us and with others, has said it's going to be somebody other than Joe Biden. And man, is that dude vindicated today. Now, Vivek Ramaswamy, of course, I think would make an excellent running mate for Donald Trump. We'll see what happens. I mean, we don't know. According to recent reports, Donald Trump is actually delaying his decision based on the meltdown of Joe Biden. Donald Trump has been strangely quiet. I've never heard Donald Trump so quiet before. It's amazing. There's an old adage, I'm not sure who to attribute it to. Maybe it's the art of war, I think, perhaps. Sun Tzu's art of war. That says don't interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. Maybe it's attributed to Napoleon. Like, don't interrupt your enemy when they're destroying their own campaign, when they're in complete chaos. And so Donald Trump's like, I'm staying out of this one, baby. And it's so smart. It shows such devotion, dedication, such sharpness on behalf of his campaign team this time around. And as we've said on this program, fight me. Donald Trump has run a perfect campaign in 2024. Fight me on that. Trump's campaign has been pitch perfect in 2024. Find me a real critical mistake that he's made. Nothing. Even the debate performance. Just taking a step back. If Donald Trump did what he did to Hillary and got out the hammer and went full Hillary on her private server and phones and just started just absolutely mogging Joe Biden, it would have looked like elder abuse. But now, because Donald Trump was restrained and presidential and smart and deeply diplomatic about it, now Donald Trump, it looks like Jill Biden is the one who's committing the elder abuse. Because Donald Trump actually really let off the gas during the debate. It was a perfect debate. It's been a perfect campaign. So who's Trump going to pick? We're not exactly sure. According to reports, they've delayed their VP decision based on this nightmare that Joe Biden is going through right now. They're going to let this news cycle run. baby. Okay. But there is a news cycle that Donald Trump was just injected into that has been so awesome, which is the Supreme Court's decision on immunity. And lo and behold, yesterday, after the show, we got a order from the judge, which is so unbelievable here. Get a load of this. So we reported live during the show that Donald Trump's sentencing will be delayed. Now, we had no idea if that delay would be 1 day or 2 hours or 2 years. We weren't sure at time of show when it was breaking. And now we can actually see into what has happened here. This is incredible. I'm going to read this from Juan Merchan, the judge who should be probably prosecuted based on his behavior during this trial. We'll talk with Mike Davis about that in just a moment. Juan Merchan says that he's going to delay the sentencing to September 18th, which is like a full extra 3 months before the sentencing. And then he says something that set the internet on fire. If it is still necessary. So I'm going to delay the Trump sentencing, not 3 hours, but 3 months, if it's still necessary. What does that mean? They're blowing up the cases. They've set the dynamite. This Supreme Court decision, as we predicted, is something that is going to allow Donald Trump an opportunity to take a jackhammer to every single case against him at its root and at its core, and to effectively bring down the whole diseased temple on Jack Smith and all the rest, starting here with the clear evidence that this Supreme Court decision is having a profound effect on what's happening with Donald Trump in New York. Imagine how bad it's getting on a federal level. Of course, there's only one man we wish to speak with when we want to talk about how good things are going for Donald Trump legally, how bad things are going for Biden, and exactly how many adult diapers are being filled in Washington, D.C., especially inside of the special counsel's office. And that man would be Mike Davis of the Article 3 Project. Ooh, baby, Mike, how you doing, man? What a profound and special news cycle for you, sir.
It is, and every time I come on your show, Ben, we both get in a lot of trouble. So we'll try to live up to that expectation again today. I would say this to President Biden and Merrick Garland and Jack Smith and Lisa Monaco and Jay Bratt and Fani Willis and Nathan Wade and Alvin Bragg and Matthew Colangelo and all these other Biden Democrat lawyers and judges and operatives, Juan Merchan, Chutkin. The Supreme Court just drove a stake through the heart of this Biden Democrat lawfare and election interference. It was a 1-2 punch. It was the Fisher decision where the Supreme Court held that the Biden Justice Department essentially politicized and weaponized, contorted, politicized, and weaponized a post-Enron obstruction of justice statute intended to go after evidence destruction and corporate fraud cases, to go after your political enemy and his supporters, Trump and his allies. That is a devastating blow to the Biden Justice Department's 3.5-year reign of terror, their political persecution, selective prosecution against Trump and his supporters on January 6th. And then you have this powerful presidential immunity case written by Chief Justice John Roberts, not exactly a MAGA warrior. He's actually publicly criticized Trump in the past. And what the Chief Justice wrote is the President of the United States, any President of the United States, is immune from criminal prosecution for his official acts, not his personal misconduct, his official acts, because if you don't hold that way, you're going to see the president indict and prosecute his predecessors for their official acts, and you're going to destroy the presidency and therefore destroy our country. I was kind of excited for the Trump 47 Justice Department to come along so we can indict President Obama for capital murder for his extrajudicial drone strike on 2 American citizens, including a minor. I was excited to indict President Biden for his illegal mass parole of over 10 million illegal immigrants into our country and the rapes, murders, and other violent crimes that have resulted. Even George W. Bush for his lying about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and the resulting hundreds of thousands of deaths. Unfortunately, my 3-week reign of terror is going to be a lot more boring after this presidential immunity case. So I'm kind of disappointed in that way. I guess the viceroy can't be a dictator for those 3 weeks.
Oh man, they're the last remaining staffer at Media Matters is breaking off their fingernails trying to clip this. Hit Mike. Okay, so brass tacks, real quick. I've seen this speculated upon by people who seem pretty smart on X, saying that this is going to be the ruling that could effectively upend and overturn, jam up, or destroy all of the cases against Donald Trump. Is that true?
Yes. And let me tell you how it's true. On the January 6th cases, it's very obvious, right? That a lot of what they put in those indictments, both by Jack Smith, who is used to getting his ass kicked at the Supreme Court and just got his ass kicked at the Supreme Court again. I mean, this guy is such a clown. He needs to give up his career as a lawyer and just go be a clown on a TV show, because he just constantly gets his ass kicked. So those January 6 cases, between the Fisher decision that got rid of 204 of Jack Smith's charges against Trump or gutted them, and then now this presidential immunity case, there's going to be like 15 or 20% of Jack Smith's case left for trial. And then after trial, that case will get reversed. Even if Jack Smith wins, he'll get reversed, because it's not a crime to object to a presidential election. It's allowed by the Electoral Count Act of 1887. It's allowed by the First Amendment. That's why Al Gore and John Kerry and Hillary Clinton aren't in prison after they objected, because it's not illegal. And then so that gets rid of Jack Smith's January 6th case and Big Fanny's case down in Georgia. But she got rid of her own case down there because she decided to screw her employee and then take illegal kickbacks from him in the form of lavish trips around the world. So that case is going to go away because of that. But that if it doesn't go away because Big Fanny can't keep her Big Fanny out of the workplace, then this January 6th, this presidential immunity case is going to gut that. And then with Alvin Bragg's case in New York, you saw that Judge Merchan, this corrupt judge whose daughter's raising millions of dollars off of this case, he had to delay the sentencing by more than 2 months, because guess what? Judge Merchan allowed into evidence conversations that President Trump had with 2 of his top White House advisors, which are covered by presidential immunity. And the Supreme Court just said you can't do that. And so there's going to be a mistrial in this Bragg case. So people who keep saying that Trump's a felon, he's not a felon right now. The jury found him guilty, but you're not a felon until the judge convicts and sentences. So Trump's not a felon, and he's not going to be a felon ever, because that case is going to get tossed out because of this presidential immunity decision. So what's left? You have the classified documents case down in Florida. Well, guess what? We have a good judge down there with Judge Eileen Cannon, who rules for Trump sometimes and rules against Trump sometimes, like what a judge is supposed to do to protect the criminal defendant, to make sure he gets a fair process. And if you saw in this presidential immunity decision, the Chief Justice scolded these judges like Judge Chutkan, who railroaded President Trump and stampeded over his constitutional rights. Trump's going to come out of this. He's going to win on November 5th. He's going to be back in the White House on January 20th. And then his Justice Department must open a criminal probe, and they must deliver severe legal, political, and financial consequences to these Biden Democrats who have run this illegal conspiracy against him, his top aides, and his supporters.
So that's a perfect jumping off point, actually, to the next question I had for you, because since we last spoke, Mike, there's been some saber rattling from inside of the special counsel's office. Oh, Jack Smith has been stroking that beard, and he has said to the press that he is really excited right now to pursue the Trump case past Election Day, even if Donald Trump wins. Here's what the Washington Post had to say about it in a massive headline with a big splash with Jack Smith's grody beard. I think there's a French fry in there somewhere. And he's saying that up until The 5 o'clock on the date of Donald Trump being sworn in to office, January 20, 2025, that Jack Smith is going to be furiously trying to put Trump in prison. I just couldn't wait, Mike, for your response to Jack Smith here.
Well, it's good to know that Jack Smith understands that Trump's going to win. And Trump's going to win in big part because Jack Smith is such a buffoon. Again, the guy who repeatedly gets his ass kicked at the Supreme Court. He did in the Bob McDonnell case. Remember, that was 8-0. It would have been 9-0, but Justice Scalia died. Jack Smith got reversed there after he destroyed former Virginia Bob McDonnell's life and political career because Bob McDonnell was a likely presidential or vice presidential contender until Jack Smith, the political Scud missile, destroyed his career, right? And so Jack Smith got back. He got banished to The Hague. He got brought back. He has a very wealthy wife. His wealthy wife does documentaries for Michelle Obama. Jack Smith is this buffoon, like pool boy lawyer who is obviously a total clown and cannot do this job. Look, I would say to Jack Smith that right now you guys are the hunters. And on January 20th, you're going to become the hunted when the Trump 47 Justice Department opens a criminal probe on your obvious criminal conspiracy under 18 USC 241 and 242 to violate the constitutional rights of President Trump and his top aides like Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon, who are sitting in prison right now, his lawyers like John Eastman and Jeff Clark and Rudy Giuliani, his supporters on January 6th, parents outraged by gender chaos in schools, Christians praying outside of abortion clinics, including 75-year-old Christians going to prison, while this President Biden and his attorney general and these Democrat operatives at so many different levels in the Justice Department, Manhattan DA's office, New York Attorney General's office, Tish James, Fulton County DA's office, Arizona AG, Chris Maez, whatever the hell her name is. These people are going to be on the receiving end of subpoenas from this criminal probe. They're going to have to lawyer up. They're going to have to spend a lot of money. They're going to have to turn over their documents. They're going to have to come testify. Maybe they'll plead the Fifth Amendment because they're going to be targets of this probe. But guess what? There are going to be severe political, legal, and financial consequences for this Republican conspiracy by Biden and these goons. And I want them to remember this when they're crying about this. Remember what they say to us. Nobody is above the law.
Oh, man, I can't wait to sell those bumper stickers. We'll put it right on a shirt. We're going to, the moment that Donald Trump wins the election at presumably 9 p.m., based on recent polls and what we've been talking about the whole show, whether it's Kamala Harris or a corpse like Joe Biden at the top of the ticket, Donald Trump wins at 9 p.m. that night. Mike, I will co-brand a Nobody is Above the Law t-shirt and bumper sticker with you, and it'll have your face on it. It'll be great. It'll have your face as the viceroy, and I think it'll sell like hotcakes. I want to talk just really quickly here because it is confusing to some people given the bluster out of the special counsel's office and the DOJ, because they're like, no, Donald, the investigations must continue. Nothing Trump can do can stop the wheels of justice. What would you advise the president to do once he becomes the executive once more about these cases?
I don't think I have to advise the president to do anything, because I think the acting attorney general, the second he takes office, is going to order Jack Smith and Matthew Graves, the DC U.S. attorney, to dismiss all of these January 6th cases with prejudice immediately. Then the acting attorney general is going to fire all of these bad actors, and then the acting attorney general is going to open a criminal probe on all these bad actors. And we must do this, because what President Biden and Garland and these Biden Democrats have done is they have crossed the Rubicon. They have destroyed our country with this republic ending lawfare and election interference, and they only appreciate and understand power. So we need to show them power. We need to give them retribution. And people are like, you can't do retribution. Yes, retribution is a big part of justice, and retribution has a deterrent effect, so this never happens again. So these Biden and Obama operatives never think that they can get away with illegally politicizing and weaponizing our intel agencies and our justice systems at every level, in the Justice Department, in New York, in Manhattan, in Atlanta, in Arizona. This is unacceptable what they've done. They must face severe consequences. Again, I call it the dead chicken strategy. So we need to wrap those dead chickens around their necks. Those dead chickens of these indictments and these investigations are going to rot around their necks. And as they rot, they're going to lose the taste for chicken. And so I promise you, after we're done, they'll never think about doing this again.
That'd be great. I think that most people in the country would really like that, because it's been one, a huge distraction, and then two, what are you looking at here? Putting the president in jail before he becomes president? Again, as Tucker says, Donald Trump is not just the Republican nominee; he's the presumptive president, and they're about to put him in jail for some crime that everybody agrees on is complete and total bullshit.
Yeah, nothing screams democracy like trying to bankrupt, throw off the ballot, and prison for life, and even pursue, after he wins the election, the president of the United States. I mean, the people who are pretending like they're saving American voters from democracy are actually destroying it. Let's just see what happens with these democracy people when they throw old Joe Biden off the Democrat ticket after he won the Democrat primary overwhelmingly. Nothing screams democracy like Obama and Big Mike and Kamala and Nancy Pelosi and these other Democrat operatives colluding in a smoke-filled back room to throw overboard the duly elected Democrat nominee for president, Joe Biden.
I know, Mike, that we're short for time, so I just have one final thing to show you. And by the way, on our show, and in our entire production staff, we lovingly call you Big Mike, in fact. And so I just want to let you know your nickname on our team here, ladies and gentlemen, is a meme that I loved from this morning. And Mike, I would love to get your reaction to this, considering the fact that you just talked about Joe Biden, and you just talked about like what is currently happening to Joe. And there's been a man on the Supreme Court who's been so patient, who's been so persistent, and who has actually been the recipient of abuse from Joe Biden. And his name is Clarence Thomas. And I know that you know him. I know that you've helped create what many call the Clarence Thomas Court right now. And I want to just get sort of your parting thoughts as you watch the collapse, the true biblical collapse of Joe Biden. Maybe from the perspective of Clarence Thomas right now.
Well, it was Clarence Thomas who told me about who taught me the dead chicken strategy. When he was growing up on the farm in Georgia, when dogs killed chickens, you would wrap those dead chickens around those dogs' necks. And so as those chickens rotted, those dogs would lose the taste for chickens. I did that during the Kavanaugh confirmation. I've done that with this lawfare against Trump. And I just think it's so great that more than 30 years ago, then Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Joe Biden, the dumbest human being on the planet long before he got dementia, tried to destroy Clarence Thomas's life with bullshit charges of sexual abuse against him. God forbid we have a black man in power, a conservative black man in power. The only thing I'm surprised is that they didn't bring in a blonde white woman instead of Anita Hill to bring these bullshit charges against him, to be really racist by the Democrats. And so I think it's just rich that here we are more than 30 years later, and it's the Clarence Thomas Court, thanks to President Trump, and Joe Biden is getting chased out of Washington, D.C. by his own party, by his own pack of hyenas, right? It's amazing. Clarence Thomas is at the top of his game, and Joe Biden is going to get chased out of office. And, maybe we can still find a way to indict him after January 20th, even with this presidential immunity thing. I think that would be quite rich.
Pack of hyenas, Mike. Well, that's an endorsement of Kamala Harris, if I ever heard one. Goodness. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we endorse the Article 3 project. The only reason, we've told you the story a million times. Mike's too humble to say it. But my endorsement of the Article 3 project goes like this. Without Mike Davis, there wouldn't be a Clarence Thomas Court. That's it. That's all you need to know. Got to get over there and support him, and then follow Mike's razor-sharp takes on X. Make sure that you follow Mike Davis. 210,000 Americans. Can't be wrong. God bless you, Mike.
Thank you, Ben.
Godspeed, man. We do call him Big Mike. I don't know what the problem is. What's the issue? He's Big Mike. He's Big Mike Davis. This is a Big Mike Davis. Comment section melting down. Like, of course we call him Big Mike. What? Is there some other Big Mike? I don't understand. Ladies and gentlemen, please, I don't understand. But I do understand a couple of interesting things that have been happening for Donald Trump, and a couple of salty things that have been happening to the libs on TV. You don't think that we'd get through a show like this without assault that lib. I needed to let all the salt build up from the Mike Davis interview and the new bumper stickers. Nobody is above the law. Believe that, okay? Believe that. We're going to get that swag branded and ready to go. Nobody's above the law. It's going to be awesome. We'll have that ready on election night. Oh, man, it's going to be so exciting. People are not excited for election night on the left. They are so salty, they're crying right now. And so get your salt ready. We have a wonderful Salt That Lib for you. These are libs losing their minds over the Supreme Court decision that Mike Davis just said will erode and atomize, destroy, and completely eviscerate all of the charges against Donald Trump across the land. And Mike Davis is one of the primary people who allowed that decision to move forward and happen by his fighting for Donald Trump's Supreme Court nominees to be on the court. The reason why libs are so mad is because they know Mike Davis is right. That's why they mad, okay? So libs be mad. They need some extra sodium. Let's give it to them. Salt shakers in the comments. We put your comments up on screen. Salt that lib. Let's go.
As Justice Sotomayor says, the president could literally order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a rival and cannot be prosecuted for that.
This is an assassination attempt on democracy by Donald Trump's Supreme Court.
People are exploring options to live in other countries if they think they could be targeted for prosecution by Donald Trump, because targeting you or targeting me or targeting Andrew would be an official act.
I mean, this is a death squad ruling.
Our democracy really took a stab in the heart.
Theoretically, President Biden, acting within the scope of his official duties, could dispatch the military to...
A majority of this court, applying an indeterminate test, will pick and choose which laws apply to which presidents by labeling his various allegedly criminal acts as core, official, or manifestly or palpably beyond the president's authority. In other words, to put it in Game of Thrones terms, America now has a king and 6 hands of the king. Happy effing Independence Day.
Ding, 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 ding. Happy Independence Day. Oh, baby. Oh, they salty. They are salty. I mean, looking at all the salt. Look at the beautiful salt rolling down the chat. You love to see it. We have the comment section up in front of us on 3 different phones here. Oh man, the salt pouring in. Oh, they're so angry. So there's a big time Trump hater who used to work for Showtime. His name's Tim Miller, and he's just one of these like goofy characters. He fancies himself a reporter. He worked for Jeb Bush, if that tells you anything. Anyway, he's like, Donald Trump must have a golden horseshoe up his ass, is what he said on X yesterday when it comes to this decision. Because now you're watching like all of these, the decision from the Supreme Court just blow up the better part of like 10 straight years of work for Democrats. You know, they've been planning these cases against Trump for a decade or more. Right? They plotted this stuff back in 2016. You can go track these meetings with the White House. Russiagate, it's all an extension of that, ladies and gentlemen. So it's really going to be, here, there it is. Okay, all right, you can put it up. It's really, he must have a golden horseshoe. Let's go ahead and listen Donald Trump, again, has been quiet, okay, over the last couple of days, but his lawyer hasn't. Donald Trump's lawyer has been saying, yeah, get ready, buckle up, baby. We're going to win.
What do you make of that, those additional sentences? He's looking at the immunity from the Supreme Court and saying, I have to make heads or tails of this. Is he actually confused?
Look, I think we won a massive victory at the U.S. Supreme Court yesterday on this immunity case, and now you're starting to see the dominoes topple in all of these other cases against President Trump. Judge Merchan has a very serious problem on his hands. There were items introduced in evidence in the trial that he supervised that I believe are clearly covered by the Supreme Court's immunity decision. That effectively corrupts that entire trial. It could easily be grounds for a retrial. I think that's why the New York DA's office was so quick to agree to a continuance of the sentencing, and it's why Judge Merchan seems to be deeply worried about the jury verdict that he supervised.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have some breaking news on the show. Again, it is our obligation to bring you news. There's some crazy things going on right now with Joe Biden. I did want to get to Stephen Miller though here as we load up the breaking news about what's happening with Dementia Joe. It's bad, but I have good news for you. Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller is somebody who's obviously been on our show. He's Donald Trump's, I would argue, Donald Trump's highest IQ advisor. Every policy you liked in Trump term 1.0 was written and authored by Stephen Miller. So Stephen Miller on the SCOTUS hearing is something that I think is so important. And a little secret here, Stephen Miller is the man who prepared Donald Trump for his debate with Joe Biden, which will go down in history as the greatest debate victory of all time. So let's listen to the man.
You see these widespread calls for political violence from prominent Democrats up and down the country, talking about assassinations and droning and this endless list of horrors. The second, I think, and most important thing is how unhinged, how angry, virulent, and unhinged Democrats are because the Supreme Court impeded their plan, their plot to jail and frame Joe Biden's opposition leader before the election. That's what all this comes down to. We have seen year after year now of unending lawfare. We know about Steve Bannon. We know about Peter Navarro. We know about all of the advisors who have been harassed and hounded, investigated, and persecuted. We know about the January 6th Unselect Committee. We know about Fani Willis. We know about Jack Smith. We know about Alvin Bragg. They are enraged because the Supreme Court dared to stop their communist witch hunt, dared to impede, to get in the way of their effort to turn us into a fully communist, lawless country. And the third point is what's dawning on us all right now, which is that we are living in the most vulnerable national security moment in the history of our country. Why? We have one president who is incompetent by means of senility, and we have a vice president who is incompetent by means of imbecility. So we have the senile Joe Biden, we have the imbecile Kamala Harris, and as a result of that, we are not safe.
Come on, Stephen Miller. She's not an imbecile. You just haven't considered what can be unencumbered by what has been. Come on, Stephen Miller. Haven't you considered the coconut? Did you think I fell out of the coconut tree? You do we have that clip of Kamala? You the coconut tree clip? You think I just fell out of a coconut tree? We are unencumbered by what has been based on what can be. Tim Dillon is this comedian who we really like on this program. He's very, very funny. He's on Joe Rogan a lot. He has his own YouTube channel. It's great. And he says that Kamala Harris speaks in gypsy curses, which is very, very true. Gypsy curses. A hive of bees is still a hive of bees if you bury it. Yeah. Paraphrasing Tim Dillon. Very, very funny and true. Donald Trump must have seen that because Donald Trump actually said something very similar to that during a Tucker interview, which is that Kamala Harris speaks in rhyme. Let me see if you can make anything of this Kamala Harris clip here, ladies and gentlemen, because this ties directly into our breaking news about Joe Biden and the pressures that are mounting for Joe Biden to resign. We have some major breaking news on that in just a moment. Here we go. Kamala Harris, coconut tree.
My mother she would give us a hard time sometimes, and she would say to us, I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this coconut tree. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for this coconut tree. A house divided against itself must not be a coconut tree. What other famous lines are there from various presidents? Yes. This day, a day that will live in infamy. America was deliberately attacked along with our coconut trees. Yes, okay. Ooh, baby. I did not have sexual relations with that coconut tree on Epstein Island. Can we continue? We can continue. We'll continue, ladies and gentlemen. Could you imagine? Could you imagine Kamala Harris being president? Ooh, baby. Even if it's for a couple months, it would be so unbelievably entertaining. And it may happen. We don't have a choice. Okay, here we go. The Democrat Party may force this upon us. Here is our breaking news right now from Bloomberg. House Democrats consider demanding Biden withdraw from race. Oh, baby. So what they're saying here is that the 25 number is way too low. We reported earlier in the show, and we do this the best that we possibly can. Thank you, executive producer ALX. The best that we can, we try and correct any information that has changed during the show, and this does happen quite a bit. We said that 25 House Democrats may be calling for Joe Biden to resign, but it seems like it will be many, many more than that. According to Bloomberg, dozens of Democrat lawmakers are considering signing a letter demanding President Joe Biden withdraw from the race. Senior party officials said the panic mounts because he'll lose them control of Congress. Now, this is, of course, exactly what we mean by rat. When we say this, Democrat. Rat, you can find the word rat in the word Democrat. You know, rats will eat each other. They don't care. Rat gets hungry. It'll eat anything. It'll eat another rat. It'll eat, you go see rats. When I lived in D.C., there were rats all over the place. Had to catch rats in my backyard. We had rat infestation. It was just grotesque. And these animals, like they don't have any. There's no nobility in a rat. There's no allegiance in a rat. They'll eat each other. And they're saying, now these Democrats are saying, you're going to cost me my race, so you have to go. They have no loyalty to Joe Biden. They don't like Joe Biden. Joe Biden is this like very low IQ dumbass from this teeny little state where he only ever had to get like 90,000 votes, right, to win a Senate seat. And he could just do all of that through like fraud or intimidation, use the unions to get him the votes, which is exactly what Joe Biden did. My wife's from Delaware. Their family's in politics. I know all these stories. This is exactly how Joe Biden literally cheated and stole, got himself into office, and then continued to cheat and steal to keep himself in office. And now he continues to cheat and steal all the way up to the White House. I mean, it's really a despicable story of what can happen, ladies and gentlemen, when you have people with so much cretinous immorality and blind ambition running. And no one can tell them no, right? And so Joe Biden in his handicapped state, it's come to this. It's come to this. I don't know. Are they talking about the entire Democrat caucus? Will it be like hundreds of Democrats signing this letter? Not sure. But that's the update. The front page of Drudge Report. We don't encourage you to read Drudge Report because Drudge Report has taken a far left-wing swing that nobody can quite understand unless Matt Drudge. We just assume that Matt Drudge sold the Drudge Report to like leftists, but nobody knows. Here we go. Her party now. Front page of Drudge. It's her party now. Are you ready? Don't say your boy Benny didn't predict it. And I gotta tell you, Kamala Harris, they may be sucking on the hopium and copium, right? Oh, like Kamala Harris can beat Trump. No, she can't. She can't. Kamala Harris will bomb. Possibly worse than Biden. Possibly worse than Joe Biden. Kamala Harris will I don't know who Kamala Harris would win. I'm not sure. Maybe only the people unencumbered by the coconut trees. Those are the people who Kamala Harris will presumably win. It's not going to be us, ladies and gentlemen. Don't count us in that group. Count us, though, in a group of individuals who will show you Donald Trump's first ad that he's produced since all of this. Donald Trump posted a unofficial Trump campaign ad, and it's awesome. Again, Trump's been very, very quiet, and we have that for you here at the end of the show. It's inspirational, actually, and beautiful. But nothing is inspirational or beautiful as our verse of the day, of course. In days of good news and bad, we have our verse of the day to make sure that we always deliver you good news from Deuteronomy 31. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you or forsake you. Don't be afraid or terrified. This says, be courageous. What this means is that you will have hardship. So many of these inspirational Bible verses from the Holy Scriptures are about like guarantees of hardship. There will be bad times. We'll have to go live and report to you that Donald Trump's been found guilty of 34 counts of whatever. Like there'll be tough times. There's going to be bad things that happen to you. It's a guarantor in a fallen world. But you can also guarantee your victory because of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who will not forsake you. So don't put your faith in men. No man. Put your faith in no man. Put your faith in no political party. Put your faith in nothing that is man-made. It will all decay. It will all go to ash. And it will all let you down. Right? A lot of people being let down right now in the country. Wink, wink, salt, salt. But like, put your faith in what is true and what is eternal and what actually has always been, and what won't let you down, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what we do, and that's why we have that's why we're happy warriors on this program, and we march forward to the victory that we know is guaranteed to us. And we have our eyes set. And so march with us. Stand upright. Be upstanding. And march along. It's it's going to be a fun trip, all right, between now and November 5th. It's your boy Benny. Here, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, is a brand new, unofficial ad that Donald Trump just posted. And it made us pretty happy, and we think it'll make you pretty happy. See ya.
2024, it's our final battle. We're either going to have a country greater than ever before, or we're not going to have a country at all. And we're ready for it. Are we ready? We're ready.
Damn, who knew? All the planes we flew, good things we've been through.
You must never forget this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. This is your home. This is your heritage. And our American liberty is your God-given right.
Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side. And now you're going to be with me for the last song.